Hello, boys and girls. This is Miss Bomar, and I am back again with you today for another reading lesson. You probably have already watched Miss Hamilton's video this morning with her new awesome class, and they did a lesson on central message. So that is what we are going to be talking about also. So this morning, Miss Hamilton told you that central message is the lesson that the characters learn in the story and that we learn from the story. So some of the examples that her classmates gave her were to not be a bully, or to treat others how you want to be treated, or to be kind to other people. So those are some really good examples of some lessons that the characters learn in a story, but that we can also learn from a story. So today what we're going to be talking about in my lesson is we're going to be talking about the book Wish, which was an awesome story that all of us in third grade read while we were still in school. So Wish was a story about a little girl named Charlie, and she was kind of taken away from her family in Raleigh. Her dad was in jail, and her mom was kind of not a good mom. She said that she couldn't get her feet on the floor. She couldn't get her life going. And so she had to leave her mom in Raleigh and her sister in Raleigh and move to Colby, North Carolina, to live with her uncle Gus and her Aunt Bertha. And so in the story, Charlie was kind of really mad at the beginning, and she was upset that she couldn't stay in Raleigh, and she didn't like the new place that she was living, and she was just kind of mad at everybody. But throughout the story, we saw a lot of things change and a lot of things happen. So Charlie met a little boy named Howard, and Howard started becoming more and more of a friend to Charlie, and then she spotted this dog who she named Wishbone by the end of the story. And together, her and Howard spent a lot of time together trying to catch the dog Wishbone, and they finally did. And it seems like her life started getting better and better in Colby, North Carolina, with her aunt and her uncle and her friend Howard. And so there's a really good lesson that we could get from the story Wish, a really good lesson that everybody could learn. And what I talked about a lot with my class is sometimes things happen in our life that at the time we think is really bad and we don't like it, but in the end it turns out being the best thing for us. So a lesson that I got from this story is sometimes bad things that happen to you can turn into really, really good things. So her being taken away from her mom and having to move to Colby seemed like a bad thing at the beginning of the story, but by the end of the story, it turned into a really, really good thing. She got a new friend, and she made really good friends with Howard's family. She got a new dog. Her uncle and her aunt, Gus and Bertha, became really, really important, kind, awesome people in her life. And so there's a really good lesson that we can learn from that story, Wish. And so some things that I just wanted you to remember that Miss Hamilton talked about in her video is that in our story, there is always some kind of problem, and we have to figure out how that problem got solved. So I want you to think about, what was the problem in our story Wish? Okay, what was Charlie's problem? It talked about it for a long time in the story, but one of her biggest problems was that she had to move away from Raleigh and leave her mom, and her dad was in jail, and her life just kind of completely changed, and she had to move to a new place in North Carolina with new people and a new school. And so her problem was that her life was just completely changing, and she was having to get used to it and having to learn how to live this new life in this new place. And so her problem got solved by the help of Howard and her uncle and her aunt and Wishbone. Okay, those people kind of completely turned her life around, right? They helped her become more happy. Bertha and Gus gave her a great life in Colby. She had her own room, and they were just really kind to her, and they taught her how to control her anger and control her emotions, and taught her how to be a good person. And Howard taught her how to be a good friend, because he was a really good friend to her. And so we want to talk about, what was the lesson that you think Charlie learned in the story and that you learned from the story. So I want you, in this video, in the comments, I want you to post in the comments, what do you think the lesson that Charlie learned was? And what lesson did you learn from this story? Okay, I want you to post your answers in the comments below. And if you have any questions, you can put your questions in the comments also. You can also write it on a piece of paper if you want to do that, and post a picture of your piece of paper like you did your stories yesterday. Okay, so I want you to write, what was the lesson that Charlie and you learned from our story, Wish? Okay, I can't wait to read your comments, and I will see you tomorrow.